If you could, Chad, could you state your name, rank and grade if in the military or DoD, branch of the armed forces, and town you hail from in Cumberland County, just to start off.
Um, Chadwick Johnson, NF3 sports specialist, uh, facility manager at Carlisle Barracks. Live here in Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
All right. So, like we discussed briefly a little bit here, you have lived in a couple different places. I know in our pre-interview we talked about you lived in Leesville, Virginia, and forgive me if I pronounce this incorrectly. Was it Wurzburg, Germany?
Uh, Leesville, Louisiana, and Warrisburg, Germany.
Okay, yeah.
Warrisburg, Germany.
So how do those communities compare or contrast to living in Carlisle? Like, what are some?
Uh, Carlisle is when I moved to Carlisle, it was a more family-oriented place where the crime wasn't high at all compared to those places that I was with the military over in those areas. Sometime things got a little rough. The school system wasn't as great as it was here in Carlisle. So, and other than the weather, it was a great. It has been a great experience here in Cumberland County, in Carlisle.
Okay. Well, what eventually made you come to Cumberland County or the Carlisle area?
Well, the DOD, the Army.
Okay.
I accepted a job here in 2003, and it's been a great experience. I never had been on the East Coast, this close to the East Coast, and like I said, it's been a great experience. When I got here, it was a lot different. One thing was the weather and things, and like I said, it's a lot of hiking and things that you can do here, fishing and things. So it was great on that aspect.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about your job. So just kind of walk me through a day, just like an average day that you would be doing things within, sports and everything
Okay.
else.
Well, I my primary just during the daytime is oversee the fitness facility. I oversee them, and normally in the evening time I have my programs where that the students of the War College comes and I make programs for them such as basketball, softball, volleyball, and seasonally we have each one of those sports and during the evenings and nights we participate as a team sport and I oversee all of that and make the programs for it.
Okay. Now, these programs do they focus more on? Is it college basketball? Like, is it college? Is it more high school, middle school? Like what?
It's an intramural program.
Okay.
An intramural program consists of any place you go. They have what you call it. Even in college, they have intramural. So the intramural program is more of a recreational level league that you form, and these lieutenant colonels and also civilians and active duty soldiers play as well in these programs. So, and also the community, we open some of our programs up to like the YMCA of Cumberland and County. Anybody mostly within Cumberland County want to participate. and for softball, one of the sports that we open up, and also basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So we allow them to come in and play and participate, and it give us a good relationship with the community.
Mm-hmm.
Give the military a good relationship with the civilian world outside the gates.
Do you think it achieves that goal pretty well in the relationship between the community and the military?
Yes, since I've been Carlisle, even though Carlisle is a small little city, a town, really Carlisle Barracks don't make Carlisle. It enhances it, but it don't make Carlisle. I've been to places as in Leesville, where Fort Polk made Leesville. You take Fort Polk away, you have nothing there. So when I moved here, it was a great experience. The people knew because of my accent that I wasn't from here, but they accepted me here. So, and I imagine the rest of the military families that come is embraced with open arms here in Carlisle as well. So my working relationship with the outside civilians versus the military, it's have been great since I've been here.
Mm-hmm. Do you think would you say it's better or worse than the other communities that you've worked in?
I would say this is my longest tenure of my career being here in Carlisle. So I would say it's a lot of areas is better because like I said, I love it because it's like a family-oriented thing, and it's a lot that you can do with a family, and the crime is not high here in Carlisle.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go into. I know you coached a little bit in coaching underprivileged youth. Do you want to maybe go into a little bit more detail on what all that entailed and your experience with that?
Well, I've been coaching AAU basketball for over 20 years. And everywhere I go, in Germany, they didn't have AAU, but I coached high school, girls and boys, and middle school when I was there for the 3 years. So everywhere I go, when it started at Fort Polk, and everywhere I went since then, I've been finding the youth service building on posts or either the local YMCA, and try to network and try to create an AAU team. And when I got here in Carlisle, there was nothing for the kids, nothing at all outside of junior high, high school. So in '03, I started the AAU here, and I held the tryouts in late that winter, where we did recreation late that winter, and I had a tryouts in March of 2004. And from then on, the community and things, like I said, a lot of the kids here didn't have nothing, and they didn't have nothing to look forward to. But my motto was that I use basketball to change their life, because normally when the kids was out doing their thing, you can't walk up to a kid and say, you need to come off the streets or you need to do this. So you have to use a motivator, and basketball was that motivator. So I used basketball here to do that, and I started a program, and it lasted all the way up in 2000 to 2011. I had got some medical issues, and I stepped down. But fortunately, over this year and last year, a gentleman by the name of Ricardo Smith came in, and he took up where I left off, and now he's rolling, and with an AAU program similar to what I had and things. So, but like I said, most of my kids was mostly from the low poverty area, but I also had a mixture. I had officer kids and on the team from the post. And the amazing thing, I had kids on the teams. Home salary ranges from 200,000, well, from 20,000 to $200,000. You know, and they all came together, and you would never know it. You know, we would go off on trips to hotels and things, and you never know it. And the amazing thing from the first class that I had in '04, those guys still now is grown. They went on to the military, college, and had kids of their own, and they still stay in contact because some of the guys was military. Parents was military, so they moved to Texas, they moved to Florida, they moved all over the world, and they stayed in contact. And we are planning on having a reunion within the next year or two.
That's really neat to hear how the AAU has had such an effect on, you know, all these people's lives.
Yeah.
The teamwork aspect, did you have to try like hard to get them to work together, or did it just kind of work?
Well, it was hard because wherever you go, and to start a program such as this is very competitive, and if you're not winning, then you have you don't have a good high attention span, and well, you know, the first 2 years was very hard, but the third year we start winning. The fourth year we won everything. We never lost a game. We won the nationals.
Wow.
So and it's rolled ever since then until I had my sickness came about. But like I said, once you winning, and once they see that this is something that is positive, they're gonna commit to it. And with the kids, like I said, I didn't never have a problem. Most of the time, when you're coaching and you're coaching 13 and 14, I started when they were 13 and 14 years old. You don't normally have the problem out the kids. You normally have the problem out the parents.
Right.
But the parents, some of the parents, I would say 50% of the kids that was on the team, because I had multiple teams after the first year. So I would say 50% of them were single parents, and some of the kids that was on the team, I was a father figure to them, you know, because some of them really didn't have a father in the home, and so I would take time out of my time and you know, take them to different places, take them out to eat as a group, and pick them up when they need a ride, you know, from a game or something of that nature. When they don't have a ride, they'll call coach or something like that. But other than that, I just build a relationship with all of them. And right today, like I said, if they see me now, they very much respectful and things.
Is there any particular story or maybe a kid that you've had that really stuck out to you, that you really saw a change in, and you really helped motivate them?
It's several. You know, it's a kid that I lost. When I say I lost, that bothered me because I really couldn't get to that one.
Right.
And he ended up incarcerated, and it really bothered me for that one. But it's several kids that since I've been here, because I tell you, since I've been here over these 13 years, I've coached over maybe 120 kids. You know, because I normally just go with the same age group, but it was times that I just coached other kids and summer programs and different things. But I done coached over 100 and something kids within the AAU program itself. So, but it was this one kid posted on Facebook, and they was having a discussion about coaches and who was their mentor or who was their best coach ever.
Mm-hmm.
And this one kid posted on there and said, Coach Chad, hands down. And then the rest of the people came in and was commenting, yeah, you right. So that made me feel good, you know, to know that I touched their life. And a lot of them today in person would tell me, Coach, if it wasn't for you, I don't know where I'd be. And that makes me feel good, you know, because like I said, when I first got there, they had nothing here in Carlisle. They had it in Cumberland County, but it was in Mechanicsburg. They had an AAU, mid-pen motion. But once I started here in Carlisle, that was a big deal. And like I said, today, fortunate, it started back up.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I'm not the head of it no more because I really stepped down and retired from coaching basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I'm into sports for adult sports, you know. So.
Do you think your legacy is still being, is there still a standard there in the AAU?
Yeah. I go to places now and they remember me. I can go to a tournament, and if the coaches have been around for a long time, they remember me because I gave them trouble, you know, and every tournament I was in, you know, I normally bring a competitive team, you know, especially at my last 2 years. So I walked in the gym several times at a high school game, and the older kids that in that era that know me, you know, they always holler, Coach Chad, Coach Chad. So it makes me feel good, you know, to know. And I'd go down to Harrisburg and different places and to games, and coaches recognize me and know who I am and things like that. And I've been asked to come out and show them different press that I have and plays that I ran when I was coaching it. So I haven't really took them up on that offer that I will go out yet, but it's a possibility, especially with the guy that's here, Ricardo. I think that he's doing a great job now, so I want him to be successful as well.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah. Okay. How do you think the community reacted to, you know, you bringing forth this like hardworking, competitive team? How do you think the community reacted to that?
Well, the sponsorship and parents and different things like that. I didn't get a lot of sponsorship, but I got enough. You know, over majority. I got a fund set up, and when we was going traveling and things, but they opened up with open arms as well. Majority of the city business and the parents itself thought it was a great thing because actually in some instance I became a babysitter because they would drop the kids off at the gym and I keep them for 2 hours. They can go this and that, you know, and some instance a lot of parents were hands-on, you know, so but I got a lot of support from businesses and organizations here in Carlisle. The Satoma Club was one of the major sponsors of my program. They must gave me, I'm on the wall, I heard, I'm not for sure, I hadn't been in there, but they have give you a picture, award, the Volunteer of the Year award. And I know I won it. I went to the banquet. Didn't want all of that, but hey, you know, it came, and I hear that I'm on the wall in there, and I'm on that wall at the hall they have. So, but yeah, it was a great experience with that. as well, having the community to accept you with open arms.
So, with all that said, would you say that the urban area of Carlisle is a better, more enriched community since your involvement in 2004?
Yeah, the program and the things I've done here, even us in the adult world, trying to get the military to interact with the civilians for us using the sports arena. I absolutely do. I think so. Yeah.
So is there any particular proof maybe that you can give to this, to where is there what interactions between the military and the community, positive or negative, have you experienced?
Well, when I got here, it was a no. You couldn't. They had stopped the interact between that. I opened the door by going to the garrison commander at the time and started to ask for an exception to allow the community and us, because we didn't have the greater numbers on post to have teams. We would have 4 and 5 teams, but when I allowed the community in, we jumped from 5 and 16 to 10 teams, you know. So, and that was a way of, that's one way of the growth of the program, and they really didn't have nothing, a league to play in. So they was, both of us, both sides was happy, because they was helping us with the numbers, and we was helping them provide a sport to them and provide activity for them as well. You know, so and enjoyed having fun with one another. So yeah.
But you were the one that opened the door then. That kind of said, "Hey, military, hey, community, let's come together." And
yes, that was my idea. That's what I wanted, because for one, you know, there's stipulations and rules to everything that you do. You know, we have bylaws and rules that they must go by, just like if the military. So, so I have been in other communities where they have similar programs like that, but the garrison commander of that installation would have to approve it. And at the time, that one did, and it's been a success ever since then. You know, but I brought it to the table because it wasn't that at first. We was, like I said, only 4 and 5 teams and things like that. We was barely having a program for the soldiers that was there, and the soldiers enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, so, and once they having fun, that's what I'm here for. You know, to make sure that, you know, that they get accommodated.
How do you think you've maybe enriched some of the soldiers' lives through sports?
Over the years, like I said, here is not that many soldiers here, but soldiers is different because sports is just a way that they a wind down time after they get through what they duties and missions that they have. So I mean, you know, here given the opportunity to allow the civilians to come in and participate in the sports on the installation, help the soldiers build morale with them, and also the ones that don't like to come off the post and don't like to interact with people, they learn a lot of people. They know a lot of people now, you know, because if not, you know, some people I know that stay in the barracks, the soldiers that we have, never ever come off the post, don't know no one off the post. But with this, it opened the doors for them to get a chance to meet the community and meet people.
So it allowed them to be more socially active within the community.
Yes.
Kind of form a, could you say it formed a trust, like a kind of a bond between
Yes,
those two. All right. So do you think Cumberland County or Carlisle is specifically is better off than most other communities you worked in with the Department of Defense over the years? Could you say like this for sure is like one of my best projects that I've ever done? Like this here in Carlisle, is could you say that or?
I would say it's one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say that it is the best. Because, like I said, Columbia, South Carolina, Fort Jackson was one of the best kept secrets of my career, you know, for as enjoyment. But I wanted to go to Germany, so I cut that short to go to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, the rest is history. And then I came here. But like I said, Cumberland County, Carlisle has its unique spots in it, and that's why I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really do enjoy a lot of being here. You know, like I said, being from Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
it was times that you know I can. We used to leave out the house and leave our doors unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the area I live in now, you know, I've sometimes I forget, you know, to lock my door or anything, and I come back like I didn't lock my door, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and everything intact, you know. So and you know, to knock on wood that you know I don't too much have to worry about things here in the area that I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Do you think your experiences in these other communities throughout the years have given you a unique perspective and allowed you to do your job better here in Carlisle?
Yeah, because I brought a lot of things here from when I came from other places in towns and city, and for as that concerned, a lot of the things that I learned in Louisiana itself growing up have helped me a lot here in Carlisle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it was a big cultural difference between you know down in Louisiana and Pennsylvania. So I learned a lot there to help me here in Carlisle.
Mm-hmm. As far as basketball wise, how different is it? Like teamwork, all that stuff. Is it all that
basketball different? In the South is in Louisiana and South Carolina, the places I've been in for study, much Germany. It's not as dominant big down there. You have your baseball and football. It's mostly dominant down south.
Mm-hmm.
But basketball, you know, they do get excited about it. So learning a lot growing up. I wasn't never the greatest basketball player, but I knew the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could sit there and do the X's and O's, and I always have. Football and baseball, I was good in, and baseball was my best. So I learned to coach basketball down there very well, and it just took on from there.
Mm-hmm.
Took off from there, and then I applied it to the youth and adults that I've coached over the years. So,
how about do you feel that you are a good coach? Like, do you feel that you've done a good job as far as being here in Carlisle, doing what you did with the community, bringing military, bringing civilians together? Do you feel like you've accomplished a lot here?
Yes, I accomplished a lot, but you know, you always say that you could have done more. You know, it's always that you want to do more thing. But yes, I've accomplished a lot over the time I've been here and stuff. So, but it's always the door that can be open that you can always feel that you can do a little bit more. So.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything in particular that you think you could have done a little bit more?
When you look at, like I was saying, reaching out to some of the kids that I couldn't reach out, that didn't want to be reached out to. I just sometimes sit back, and I know over the years that they've got in trouble and stay in trouble now, and I just wanted to, you know, if I would say, well, if I had them on my team, if I would have just stayed with them and told them that you was gonna play and this and that, it might have changed their life, because, like I said, the program itself affected a lot of the kids' life in a positive way. You know, they had belief in faith and trust in themselves through basketball. It's amazing how basketball can work in that way in this community like that. So, and they did. You know, a lot of the kids never been to big time hotels like that. When they walk in, they was like starstruck at these big hotels and things, and because a lot of kids don't go on vacation, so they never really stay in hotels at that age. So they would go off and stay in a hotel, and it was wonderful. The bond and the trust with me and the parents. You know, nowadays you can't take kids away. You know, I mean, you got to be well trusted to take a child away from this town and overnight for a weekend. You know, like I said, it was a wonderful feeling. But if I can do things, it would be the ones that I couldn't reach to reach out to.
Kind of following up with that, is there anything that you've felt like you could have changed about your program? Maybe done a little bit better?
Like I was saying, the sponsorship, because a lot of the dollars came from me, you know, at first, you know, and to get someone to take care of a lot of that. I was doing a lot on my own. This was a second job for me. I mean, when I first started, first 2 years, it was a second job for me. I would just work on this, and I mean, it's a lot of work to it, because you got to book the tournaments, you got to do our hotels, you got to it's travel. I mean, it's a lot to it. And we had fundraisers. I didn't charge them, you know. I try to have fundraisers, because some of the parents was a little unfortunate, you know, to pay a big sum of money for a basketball tournament, this and that. So I didn't get in it for that. I got in it just to change their life, use basketball. So, and that's what I did with my program, you know. So I tried to. I wish that I could have had a lot of more sponsor and funding at first. It came later on, but at first, if I could have changed that, it would have saved me a lot of money.
Right. How do you think you could have gotten more sponsorship at first, do you think?
I didn't know the area. I didn't know the people.
Right.
I didn't know the network system. It took me a couple of years to learn.
Yeah.
And then I went from there.
As far as that network system in the community, how has that helped you, you know, establish this goal of creating, you know, sports and things for the community? Like,
once I got the network and knew a lot of the people, and my name got out there here, everything just became a lot easier for me. It was more or less, I walk into a restaurant, I walk into a store, it was more or less, yo, you Coach Chad, you know, you the one I hear about, you know, I like what you're doing with the kids, and I want to be able to write you a check, you know, and things like that, and I give them the bank routing number and things, and they would donate like that. And I never had a major sponsor, but like I said, the Sotomas was a great sponsor throughout my whole career here.
Right. Okay. Have you ever been at odds with the community, do you think, during this time?
What do you mean?
Like, have you felt like the community at any point didn't really support?
Yeah,
What
when I
you're
first started.
When
When
you
I
first
when I first started, I was wondering what the support was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was asking, and I would write letters and different things, send them out, and but never got no response because they didn't know me. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what I was doing. It could have been a scam. I mean, they really didn't know. And word of mouth through the parents, and then when we started making a paper and things like that, and people started to realize what was going on, and like I said, it took them a couple of years, but they did.
Mm-hmm.
And once they realized what was going on, they supported it.
So you almost build it from the ground up then, like your reputation.
I
this
did. I
organization.
built the team, everything from ground up. I didn't, you know, when you talk about the other communities, I inherit a team and a program.
Mm-hmm.
When I go into somewhere like Fort Jackson, South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
when you go into Columbia is a big city, and you go in and you inherit a basketball team. They already all stars. You just
Right.
got to mold them into what you want them to. But here I had to build.
Mm-hmm.
I had to build from ground up. And when I was at Fort Polk and in Germany, it was high school and junior high. So these kids had talent,
Mm-hmm.
and the program was already set.
Right.
Here, I had to just build it from ground up.
So you talked about how they kind of already had talent. What did you have to do in your organization to make sure to kind of bring that talent to fruition, to where it was like, how did you build a successful team?
Well, I believe in this press. I press the whole game, and I believe in a lot of motions on offense. When I got here, there was kids was falling over their feet. I mean, they wasn't, a lot of them wasn't coordinated, wasn't a shooter. But I stuck with them. We didn't win a game my first year in AAU, not one game. We was averaging about 30 or 40 points on the wrong side of the fence. We was losing about 30 and 40.
Mm-hmm.
And the second year, we would lose about 20, 15 and things. We might have won a game the second year, but we never placed. The third year we placed. We started losing about 5 and 6, and they learned. They bought into my program. They bought into my system as a coach. I believe in presses. I press. I run different press, and they have been successful everywhere I went. And I knew they'd work, but they just had to be in the right spot at the right time. And when I ran these press, they finally caught on after 3 years. And once they caught on, they worked hard at it in the off season, and they came back the fourth year. We didn't lose a game, and that was one of my best teams ever that year, and all my years of coaching, if not the best. I mean, they was flawless. I mean, they did everything I asked. They knew the system. It took them 4 years, to just get it down to perfection, and they did. And that was a great bunch of kids that year. And I had them for that long, and I kept them up. First year they didn't win a game, and they stayed with me. They believed in me, so I had to believe in them. That y'all gonna get it, and it was my job to make sure that they get it. And I'm a hard coach when I'm coaching, so and I kept on them and things, and I let them know, when we're not playing basketball in the spring and in the summer, you got to work on basketball all year round if you want to get better, and they did. They did. So.
Yeah. How much conviction did it take from your side to make that winning team? and maybe how much conviction did it also take from the kids that you were working with to make that winning team, that flawless team that you were talking about?
It was a lot for as like I was just saying, you have to be willing to work outside of basketball, you know, and you have to be willing to go the extra mile, and to do that is to do your homework. When I say your homework, you have things to do for basketball as well at home than in that practice. So it was like I said, it was a hard thing for me to do day in and day out to stay on them, because I was on them real hard because I knew they had potential to go somewhere and to do things. And off that team, 2 of them went to college and played college ball, got scholarship to play college ball. 2 of them did. A third one did, but he didn't go to college. So I mean, I had a great bunch of kids on that team, and they was motivated as well as I was motivated to teach them. So that's what that was about on that team.
Do you also think that you gave them like a basis of like a standard, like here's the standard you need to be at, not just on the court but off the court?
Yes, off the court as well. If you didn't do your homework, if you was failing in my program, you didn't practice. You sat over and done your homework. You got your homework done at practice. We used that to get your homework done. If you had failing grades, and that's one thing about my program. I motivated them, so they was always looking forward to travel. So they wanted to travel. So they know that they couldn't go on these tournaments if they didn't get their grades. You know, and they know that they can be suspended off the team if they didn't get their grades. So they conduct outside of basketball will affect them. They couldn't get in trouble at school or none of that. That's how I kept them out of trouble, through basketball. Right. So I use basketball for a lot of things with them, for as conduct and different things like that. They couldn't get in trouble or none of that. They couldn't even get in trouble at home with the parents.
Oh, so you brought it to their home life.
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
That runs pretty deep.
Yeah, so
as far as
if the parents would tell me that they stayed out past curfew and they was doing things like that, then they would be subject to be punished for it, because you're supposed to carry yourself as a rock. Our basketball name was Rocks. We was the Rocks. It's an organization from the base, and so if you was a part of that, you couldn't go out in this community and act out, in any way, because you were part of the Rocks, AAU basketball. We don't do that, so, we was held to a standard, and I held them to a standard.
Do you think if it wasn't from your efforts doing this in basketball and even outside, being like, look, you gotta straighten up, do you think some of the players that you've had would have ever gone on the straight and narrow, or do you think they would have ended up?
Some of them would have. Some of them was head on the straight and narrow anyway. I just kind of helped guide them. But some of them, if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have went straight and narrow. They would have been going left or right, all over the place. So, and they tells me that now. Even though they tell me about the little things they used to do that I didn't know nothing about, that kids do when we go on these trips and things, I'm like, I never had a clue that y'all did that. Now they grown, now they'll sit back and tell me. They're 25, 26 years old, so they'll tell me now, like, Coach, that time, man, we did this. And I was like, really? And their stories all match, so they did it. And I thought I was the greatest on that. I thought that nobody could ever get nothing over on me, and they did. and they did. So
Is
we
there
laugh about it now.
is there one such thing that they got over you that, you know?
Oh, they snuck out, and how they did it, I don't know.
Oh.
I really don't know today. And they hold to it, and they told me what, they told me everything, and all of them say the same thing. So it happened, but I don't know how it happened. And still
Right.
today, I thought about it. Like, how did they get out of there? Because I'm monitoring the hall.
Right.
I'm like on 24-hour guard. But and I go and check the rooms. That's the thing about it. And everybody was asleep. They were sound asleep, but I thought they was asleep. But it was a good one.
Oh.
It was a good one.
That's funny.
It was a good one. So
Oh, man.
they laugh about it now. And we sit up and like I said, they 25, 26 years old now. So we's 27, and we sit around and they laugh and they tell me their little stories and things like that. So
Now I know you talked about earlier about Facebook people talking like, oh, Coach Chad was the best, Do you ever have people come up to you face to face and be like, thank you for all you've done for me?
Yeah. A lot. Even his parents and things said that. Actually, especially with the parents, it was had an older child and had some younger kids underneath there. Like this was their older child by 10 years. In other words, this child was 13 and they had a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old or something like that. Well, now those kids then got 13, 14, 15, 16, and they used to come up and ask, Coach, what, can you gonna coach my, kid, this and that? I told them, nah, I'm retired. So I've been retired now stopped really just actually coaching it for about 6 years now.
That's pretty neat. How are we doing on time there?
It is 11:13.
1:13. So
We're at 43 minutes.
43 minutes? Okay. Let me see what else I have here. I got maybe a few more questions for you, and then when did you say your appointment was?
11:30.
11:30. Okay, so you're probably gonna get out of here pretty soon.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you one more question, then we'll
All
be
right.
done. So if given the option to move away from Cumberland County, would you take it? Why or why not?
Family reasons, I would because I'm from Louisiana and my mom is still living, and so if it come to shove, I would have to go to see after her. I would. That's probably the only reason why, and a great opportunity for as career that I will. But other than that, if it's 50-50, both of them equal out the same, I stay put. Actually, I consider this my second home now. So, and I don't really plan on going nowhere no time soon.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, after all the stuff that you built, why would you want to go anywhere?
I know.
You kind of made a name for yourself, and yeah, that's good stuff. All right, I think we're good.
All right.
Let's